Hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RTD News updates. And as you can tell from today's title, Congress is coming after your 401k. America's pension crisis is getting worse. I'm going to be covering several different articles, all dealing with the ongoing pension crisis we're experiencing here in America and what is to come. And so we're only 4 days into the new year, and already we have news about countries deciding to remove themselves or rethink the dollar, or aka dump the dollar. President Erdogan in Turkey tells his citizens in order to help the country out, it'd be in your best interest to go under your pillow, grab the dollars, the euros, and gold. And as you tell from today's title, how the baby boomers will lose their retirement nest egg, I want to share with you a couple thoughts as well as some articles on how the next market correction will be catastrophic for a lot of people. Always cash crisis. Working about Venezuela once again. To make important things. They removed the 1,000 thing on here called monetary awareness. RTD News midday check-in. Wanted to bring some important information across your radar this afternoon, and looking forward to connecting via this quick live stream. But I want to definitely make sure that give you guys an opportunity to share your thoughts and opinions on this subject matter when we connect at 4 p.m. for the People's Talk Show, RTD Live Talk. But once again, for those that are tuning in, definitely hit the thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. And if you enjoy short, concise little messages like this, definitely make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell as I try to bring more of my little research to you guys throughout the day. But anyway, let's talk. So I came across an interesting video that really jumped out at me. And of course, I shared it earlier on Telegram for those that are part of that community there. But it really got me to questioning, beyond all the noise that we're seeing, what's the ultimate agenda behind Putin allowing the sanctions to continue to ramp up and not really have much of a obvious and outright pushback against it as of now. And one of the primary benefits that I can see is that it forces the world as well as the financial community to talk about real money. And so is this a part of his strategic, chess playing wars, chess strategy? I don't know. But definitely it will force more people to acknowledge the safe haven aspect of real money in the form of gold. And of course, silver tags right along, as well as copper and other base metals as the inflation narrative continue to pick up. But want to share a quick video with you that, which is what I'm referring to. And then I'll jump into some headlines, share my 2 cents on it, as well as point you to some things that's worth keeping an eye on in the days ahead. But take a look at this video real quick.
The bull case for gold.
Gold up 6.5% this month as Russia-Ukraine tensions flare, and the traditional safety play could actually offer Russia a way around certain sanctions. Christina Partsenevelis joins us now to explain. Christina?
Well, thank you, Kelly. So often we know gold is used as a safe haven, but it jumped a little bit over 5.5% in February. So that's on pace for its best month since May. But just last Thursday, like Kelly mentioned, you had gold hitting a 52-week high, and that's driven, of course, by the Russia-Ukraine tensions. After learning several Russian banks have been removed from the world's main primary cross-border payments network, SWIFT, the Bank of Russia announced that today it would start buying gold again after an almost 2-year pause. So how big is that gold war chest? Well, Russia is actually the 5th largest sovereign gold owner, representing roughly about 22% of world reserves. It's stockpiled gold in an effort to diversify away from the U.S. dollar. This has been happening over the past decade. And Russia's central bank would buy gold on the domestic markets today. That's key, domestic markets, because buying domestically could be an attempt to skirt sanctions and monetize when required. But obviously, it's pretty hard to use gold in a transaction. So according to analysts at TD Ameritrade, the Bank of Russia would have to physically ship the gold to a destination that would be willing to purchase it, suggesting they may have to offer some kind of discount to convince the buyers, further blurring the bull case for gold.
So there you have that short 1-minute clip there from a mainstream news source. But as always, as the world is focusing on Russia, clearly this information here talks about gold. So within that 1 minute and 25-second clip, the reporter mentioned gold 11 times. And I let me know if I could be wrong here, but I don't recall any news anchor mentioning the word gold as much as she did within that short and informative information that she shared with us. But it just shows more as to how because of what's happening, of course, the sanctions and things like that, it's forcing the world to talk about gold more. And I think this definitely plays into the long-term strategic point that the BRICS nations, as well as Russia, and on top of all the other things that's yet to be discovered, we're going to finally hear some stuff about that. But let me jump into some headlines real quick, and I want to share my 2 cents on what's going on. And so put together this artwork right here, and basically the chess game. So I love referring to how, it looks like, Russia plays chess while the rest of the world is playing checkers. So I thought I would just put this together. Geopolitical chess match shines light on gold. And before I dive any further, I want to make sure I make you guys aware of the fact that trying to put more information into people's hands, highlighting the importance of precious metals in this particular time frame. So I want to make sure you guys are aware of the 5 reasons to hold precious metals. Download. I'll put the link in the description below if you guys are interested. And then also want to make sure you guys are aware of, Mr. Alan Greenspan. He was very vocal about gold prior to becoming a central banker. And so I reposted his economics and gold and economics freedom book and beneath this as well. Something worth taking a look at if you guys are interested. And then also want to make sure I can bring you guys up to speed on the fact that I put together all of my prior BRICS, India, Russia, China, referring to gold in the little archive here, the BRICS archive. So I'll put that beneath this video as well, give you guys a chance to get plugged into things that perhaps if you're new to the community or whatnot, and also share that information so people can have a chance to understand what's going on. All right, so let's jump right in it. We can't help but talk about the fact that gold, silver right now is making some major moves, and it has a lot to do with the fact that there's been a coordinated global attack against Russia, which forces everyone to wake up to the fact that, we must talk about real money. It's no way around it, because from that little short clip there, the anchor made it seem as if like now that, Russia's been cut off from the world, they have to figure out how to somehow finance and keep their economy afloat. And they're going to go into, as she mentioned, their gold war chest to try to finance some things and have to figure out how to work around these sanctions. And so gold is going to be brought to the forefront. And while the ruble is tanking, the fiat price of gold is going up. And of course, I want to make sure to highlight what's currently happening right now in the Russian ruble within the last couple of days. And so here you have, this is the last couple of years of the Russian ruble. But if we go back 1 week, and so this is the gold chart in 1 week from the time everything initially jumped off from the mainstream, attacking Russia, financially speaking. The Russian ruble in gold terms have appreciated to where they haven't really been impacted as much when it comes to the type of effect they're wanting to have on the Russian economy, denominated in gold terms. And so, of course, the Russian ruble is tanking, but just keeping in mind that despite all that, the world is waking up to the fact that gold will become a primary topic at the table these days moving forward. And then move right along. Let me get to some more headlines here. Point you guys to some things worth paying attention to. And so, as I mentioned here, gold futures settled at a 13-month high as flight to havens continue. Flight to havens. What type of havens are they talking about? Safety havens, hedges against the destruction of fiat currencies. And ultimately, what's happening as the ruble tanks, it just more so exposes the corrupt / manipulative nature of the current fiat regime and how fiat currencies are all being exposed because sanctions on Russia exposes ultimately inflation on the rest of the world. And so right now, every country is dealing with all-time highs in their CPI numbers or consumer price of the everyday goods and services that they need. And that ultimately shines a very negative light on the currency. And it puts more interest rather in gold and silver, in my personal opinion. So definitely expect more headlines that talk about safe havens, flight to safety, things of that nature. Of course, on top of the crypto space, but just something that's worth mentioning because talking about a flight to havens in the same subject as, Russia, I think this might be a part of the Eastern Bloc's desire to bring gold back to the forefront in conversation. Next article here. The Russia's ruble is worth less than 1 cent after the West tightens sanctions. And so right now, economic disaster, economic pain within the country of Russia, more than likely for large holders of fiat currencies. And so I'd assume, I don't know for a fact, but I'd imagine, gold and silver has been a part of their preferred alternative investment strategy. So not everyone is suffering during this current time frame. But when I see stories like this, rather, there's a lot that we can learn, because these sanctions are basically destroying the fiat currency, as I just mentioned. So what should that bring to you at the forefront of your mind? If they can do it to Russia, it can easily happen to any other country. And just to show you what that looks like, let's just go back and do a little historical viewpoint on the Federal Reserve note. As right now, it is probably purchasing the equivalent of 2 to 3 cents, or as some people might say, I like to say sub-zero, as far as what you can actually pay or actually buy for one single currency unit of a Federal Reserve note here. And I want to make sure I remind everybody, all dollars are not created equal. There's various types of dollar denominated instruments out there. And of course, paper is one, the digital version is 2, silver is 3, central bank reserves is 4, and all the other products I could probably throw in there as well. So just something to keep in mind, and keep it moving right along. Let's keep it plugging along. I want to bring to your attention something that I think is important yet complicated. Here is an article that originated on bullionstar.com, but it talks about meet the Russian gold refineries on the LBMA good delivery list. And so this is a very long and lengthy article here, but the author of this did a great job of connecting how the talk is not equaling the walk when it comes to the sanctions that have been thrown on the bullion banks, or the commercial banks rather, within Russia. So this article points out that there are 6 major refineries as well as commercial banks that are all interconnected. And so we've been told that there's been sanctions on a good portion of the Russian banks. But then again, a lot of that information, there's more information under the surface that's not really being talked about on the mainstream news, because it doesn't incorporate all interactions within the country of Russia when it comes to the refineries, as well as some of the bullion dealers that are associated with the LBMA and all the paper price rigging, manipulating type of stuff that they do. So this article here just shines more light on how, what we're being told is not 100% accurate, because there's some wish-washing that's happening behind the scenes that really show that Russia and their refineries and the LBMA, they're all interconnected. And so, it makes gold that much more of an important and discussion amongst all this stuff that's happening back here. But very long article, as I mentioned, but it's definitely worth checking out. And then might as well just bring this to your attention as well. So here's the historical, here's the war chest, the gold war chest. It was referred to in that video I mentioned a moment ago, or showed a moment ago, showing how this has been a long-term progressive increase of their reserves. So they've been transitioning out of fiat obligations and getting into something real in the form of gold. So no doubt in my mind, this is a part of the strategic removal out of the fiat currency game, denominated in dollar terms, and into something real that you can feel. And so as they talk about, Russia accumulating more gold, what we see here is just what we were told. This doesn't actually mean this is what they're sitting on, because I'm assuming they're having a lot more than that. So just something worthwhile. And then the last 2 articles here. When it comes to things back here on the home front, gold outshines treasuries to be the top hedge against Ukraine risks. So once again, top hedge. So the other article talked about top havens. Now we talk about top hedge. So once again, shining more light on the importance of real money in the form of gold from a global standpoint, not just a typical individual country type of issue here, because treasuries are extremely important, because those have been labeled as the primary gold or treasury standard, the dollar standard. And as gold comes back into the forefront, it just shows how much gold in a realistic viewpoint is outperforming treasuries, because once again, it's fiat based in nature. And based upon what the Federal Reserve does in the next week or 2, we're going to find out how important it will be to definitely not be holding on to debt obligations that will not be able to perform in the long run. So once again, gold outshines treasuries to be a top hedge against the Ukraine risk. So you can't deny this stuff. There, it's going to become more of a topic worth discussing. So hopefully you guys are paying attention. And then here is another one. Gold climbs as Russia sanctions fuels fear over global economy. So now we're talking about how this coordinated attack on Russia will cause a global economic systemic style event in the possible near future. So that puts more basically pressure on central banks around the world to not only use the narrative of Russia and their aggression on Ukraine as a primary focal point, but then under the surface, they've been getting their weight up for quite some time. So hopefully you guys continue to understand the importance of taking advantage of this time while we still have it to accumulate as well, to diversify, in my personal opinion. And then also never believe the hype. Look at what's really going on. And that's what we're seeing now is a move towards gold. And of course, as I mentioned before, silver does follow. So I just wanted to connect for a quick minute, shine some light on what's happening, and let you guys know that this strategic war chest that Russia's sitting on has been a part of their agenda all along, in my opinion, to bring gold back into the mainstream light. And so we're going to hear more about precious metals in the days ahead. And so therefore, that's a great way of countering your risk of loss of purchasing power, as well as the overall destruction of your financial or dealings or so moving forward, because lots of volatility will be coming in the equities markets, the housing markets, bond market, you name it. But yet, once again, it's always good to have something real that you can feel and hold in your own possession. So just wanted to share my 2 cents on this, shine some light on some headlines here, but mention the fact that for those coming in late, when you have anchors coming out talking about gold, gold, that's just something worth paying attention to. But in that, curious to get your thoughts. Check in with me at 4 p.m. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell. Hopefully you're notified. Take this video, share it with your family and friends. And as I mentioned, all the free downloads below will give you an idea as to understand how important gold and silver really are in this current time frame. So other than that, be blessed, be safe, and I'll see you guys later.